Mic check. Right, we're in the sail Qatar. Tag temperature is about 50 degrees. It's a 3.3 mile circuit, 16 corners. We've got all 20 drivers in contention for Q1. We've got 18 minutes and we are underway. And the lead in the pack, we have 12 drivers now opting to go out. It's of course dry conditions as it normally is around the sail Qatar. We've got the Williams. I believe that would be Chicken Truck taking a good lead, wasting no time at all on a new set of soft tyres, so they're clearly just wanting to get through this Q1 session, unlike other people going out on medium tyres. Of course, that's only a banker lap, and really to get to grips with the track layout and maybe test out the grip on those medium tyres if they haven't already. And we've got a Haas actually spinning it already at turn 7, if I do believe that is correct. No, it was turn 6, and we have Golden Set now disqualified from the session. That was the car that spun at turn 6, and they are disqualified for going the wrong way around the track. Of course, it is clockwise. Maybe they did think we were at Imola, but completely different continent, so maybe their geographic skills are a bit out of date. As we've got Chicken Truck now going around turn 16, they're going to be the first one to start their flying lap, and you do expect it to be faster going on those new soft tyres. Of course, you have experience with a lot of these drivers, so I do relatively know their driving style, and Chicken Truck not always been the fastest. I have of course drove in pit side myself last race in Bahrain, and I would say it's pretty dirty, so hopefully we see an improvement. But we've got Fearless now, interestingly, on those intermediate tyres, of course. Maybe he is getting to grips with the track layout, but of course, they're going to be very slow. And we have Mitch Killer, let's ride on board with them as they go around the bend of turn 1 and 2 very nicely. Really synchronized through there. And now, through turn 4 and 5, you want to go flat out through turn 5, not carrying much speed in this. I did try to do that, maybe got a few track penalties, but I do expect some people to be going flat out through there, as Mitch Killer seems to be finding grip at the tricky hairpin of turn 6. Of course, we've only got one DRS straight in the sail, so you know, you've really got to get all of your overtaking done as they jump across the curb of, I believe that was turn 10, and they have invalidated their lap time. Track limits, it's a huge problem in Qatar. I mean, you've seen 15 seconds go in other tiers 2 drivers, and that is absolutely crazy compared to every other circuit on the calendar. So track limits, they're probably the biggest problem around the sail, and you really need to keep it clean. But less competition for those 15 T2 seats, as we have of course Golden Zeth being disqualified early on in the session. And we have Connor Kickhouse being the next one to put it into P1 with a 122.1. Of course, pretty good lap times for what are only banker laps in Q1. As we have Phyllis across the line at 127.6. Of course, you don't expect them to be setting the pace through Q1, especially on those intermediate tyres. And they'll have to get out of the way of some people who I'm pretty sure are on flying laps, as we see the first time into 121s, and it is Forza Alfa Romeo of Imaduan. And all eyes might as well just be on the Alfa Romeo of Mitch Killer. They got P2 last race, and hoping to carry on a pretty good form. They are not going to set a lap time just as yet, and they are going into pit lane, so really saving it all for the last few minutes in Q1 as we tick down. Now we've only got about 12 minutes to go as it runs out, and most people coming into pits now having completed their banker lap time. Someone who might be going on another run is second track. If that is correct, they are improving through their sector 1 time, but without much ERS, and they kind of lose tyre grip and really lose their car through turn 6, as I believe that is their lap over with, as I believe they sort of backed off. P7 currently for the Williams driver, a 122.8, they'll be hoping to improve on that, as I believe that was the Red Bull of next, going up to P3, a 122.2. We're getting faster lap times as the clock runs out in Q1. People finding improvements. And now we have Solid in the next driver to start their flying lap. And what will it be for the Red Bull, as of course they did miss the last race in Bahrain, so they'll be hoping to pick up their form. As we have Blue Frog on medium tyres and pretty old mediums as well, going up to P6, a 122.6. Don't really have a clue where the cut-off time for survival into Q2 will be as of yet, but you will get a good idea as everyone else starts to put in their first flying lap times. As mid-killer now, the Alpine and also the Williams going out of the pit lane to start their second flying lap. And that is the Alpine of Blood Pringle. They'll be definitely quite ready, I'd say, quite ready to find out where their pace lies in comparison to the rest of the grid through this Q1 session, as we have both Hasses currently in the drop zone. Of course, Golden Zed cannot improve as Harry. I believe they did have a bit of a moment through what was turn 9. And we have Harry now starting what is quite a long pit straight in comparison to the rest of the track. It's very reminiscent to Bahrain, of course, without the 3 DRS zones. Now we have Solly going around what is, I believe, turn 7. They seem to be finding some pace in that Red Bull. And the second the pace through sector 2 is the Red Bull, but they have invalidated it, going a few millimeters. What was it? Wide through turn 13, and that is their lap over with, and they're gonna come into pit lane. So track limits really a problem around Qatar. We see a lot of penalties being handed out as Blood Pringle, I believe they reset to the track and they get in the way of their teammate, who I believe is on and out lap. So that won't really matter anyway. But second track, they need to find pace, but I believe that was their flying lap, but as I say that through sector 1, they've already invalidated it. A safe bet if you're looking to put your money on someone is of course Midkiller after a P2 wonderful race in Bahrain. They seem to be Really hoping to pick up the form in Qatar. Currently not set a lap time yet, and we are pretty far into the session, so let's see what they will do now as they go around turn 16. Very cautious not to go out wide, which is tricky around Qatar, but it doesn't seem to be that fast, and it's only P13, a 123.7 falls Alfa Romeo. It's quite disappointing for what was their flying lap on new soft tyres. We've got Blood Pringle already invalidating their flying lap, so we really see track limits be a problem even before you hit sector 2 and 3, as we have BTA medals. Are they confident in their lap time? It seems like they are, as they DNF from the session in the pit lane. I should say retire. Track limits, of course, you can talk about it all day in Qatar, of course. As a tier 5 driver, previously myself, of course, I upgraded to tier 3 unlike everyone else in this lobby. But you can really talk about track limits, and you do have a good mess lane, as of course Bahrain, it's tricky on track limits as well. I believe I got 6 seconds in the race, and a lot of other people were way ahead of me in track limits, so I expect this track will be way worse, and a lot more penalties will definitely be handed out rather than it was in Bahrain, as Mr. Weebisky, I believe they cut a bit too much to the inside and not improving on their sector 2 time, as they look to find the pace, but they cut across what is a very tricky turn 13, I believe it was. You really want to go flat out through the third sector, about all the way, but I guess you can't do that for what is turn 15. But you would want to go flat out, you definitely would, and through this corner it's tricky. You really got to pick lane side. It looks like the Ferrari having just decelled a little bit, losing you about 2/10, but around the hairpin they go. And it seems to be quite nice from the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Never knew Carlos Sainz was in this lobby. There is a lot of gravel out on track, so be careful about that one, Carlos. And it is a fastest sector 2 time for the Ferrari driver, decelling through the third sector, but still, they seem to be the fastest for now, as across the line they will go as they round turn 16 now. Oh, and trying to be a hero through turn 16, as Lando Norris would say, and in fact maybe losing the rear end a bit. It's only up to P11 after what seems to be a very fast sector 2 time. It's a 122.9 for the Ferrari driver. As now we have most people preparing to go out on their flying lap, as of course the setup is very crucial around Qatar. You do want to set up which really can handle high speed corners. You're really not prioritizing those straights. We've only got one DRS straight around the track. And we have mid-killer now, hoping to pick up what has been quite a disappointing Q1 on the 800th of a second, up on their disappointing 123.7 time. But they'll be looking to find pace and having clear air ahead of them, as an Alpine ahead of them probably can't stop them this time. Unlike previous occasions, as they go through Sector 2. Now picking their line what seems to be quite perfectly, falls Alfa Romeo and setting the fastest Sector 2 time because of it. Going 3/10 up and right on the limit. Through Sector 3 they go. Turns 13 and 14. Seems to be very to the limit for the Alfa Romeo driver, and that definitely has picked them up a few tenths of a second. And now enabling DRS down the main straight they go. It's only up to P13. For Alfa Romeo, they'll be hoping to get another flying lap in. This is very disappointing stuff, but Mr. Weebiscuit is now going on their flying lap, currently in the drop zone. They'll be wanting to improve. And right in the curb. Through turn 7 that was. How's that gain them a bit of time? We will see as they go around Sector 2 now. Solly needs to find an improvement and actually get around the track, but they do seem to be safe. We've got 30 seconds left, and Solly now will be enabling that ERS and using all the DRS to propel them down the straight, as that is Mr. Weebiscuit only up to P13 at 123.0. Not an impressive time from the Ferrari driver. They'll be hoping no one behind them improves. But someone who could well improve and will be definitely wanting and expecting to improve is Solly. It's a very different track layout to previous tracks we had. So of course you don't really have a bearing of who will become fastest, but that was, I believe, the Haas going up to P3, and that pushes Mitskiller right on the drop zone, who isn't doing another lap and will be in the danger zone, especially to this person. It's GSRL Krob. Now going through Sector 3, turn 15, quite fastly now. They just need to keep it clean. As Magic Mike improving up to P11, they should be safe. And that is Mitskiller out of the session, as Aston Martin of Terrific Gamer improves up to P14 at 123.0, and Mitskiller is out. Just like that, and now AlphaTauri pushes Mr. Weebiscuit down into P16. What could they do? As Solly as well, they seem to be on a clean lap, and the next one to cross the line, they're currently in the drop zone, haven't set a lap all throughout qualifying, so let's see what they'll do. As they enable DRS now, they seem to be safe, and it is P1 for the Red Bull, a very nice time, and that pushes Terrific Gamer out of the qualifying session. And Mr. Weebiscuit won't do another lap, because they have come into pit lane. I believe we were expecting another lap, and that is Terrific Gamer out and not making an appearance into Q2. Mr. Weebiscuit, Mitskiller, very surprisingly, Golden Vet quite surprisingly, but they didn't have a real chance to even put in one lap time, and Blood Pringle down in P19. And Solly top in the session. They took a break week for what was round 3, but now they're back and hitting it off strong. P1, it's a 121.7 to top the session for them. One thing which I did say as well, it might rain, it probably won't rain, especially in this humid climate like Qatar is. And now, to start the Q2 session off, we've got 15 minutes. Of course, 3 less, and Q3 would be 12 minutes. But we've got some big names already going out, and looks like we've got both McLarens, and not quite surprisingly through. Everyone really expected that, but as we have most people now starting their flying laps, and we do expect quite an increase in pace from what was pretty low Q1 timings, but we've got all 15 drivers in it like it should be for Q2. Of course, we've got clear skies in what is a humid climate. We've got 16 corners around this 3.3 mile track. We've got one DRS straight on you, so really you've always got to get your overtaking done there. You could of course do it at the exit of turn 10, I believe it was, to run up to turn 11, like you could of course. You would have, I believe, what would be quite a good slipstream, and if you get a good exit, now we've got Chicken Truck who downplayed their chances. They are going on what is, they are completing a flying lap right behind their teammates, both on medium tyres, so opting to go for a more lenient strategy and really save a set of softs, which you might need of course. Already we saw, I believe it was the tier 3 race and what was the tier 4 race, I do believe, we saw late safety cars affect the results in the last 5 laps. So of course you would prefer to save a set, but some drivers might not have that confidence that others will. This is really key around Qatar especially. I mean, you already saw, I believe someone finished P10 in the tier 3 race, and they moved up to P3 because of penalties, so of course that was a major improvement. So you really need to keep on the good side of this. With BTA Medald has done, a 121.8 puts them considerably ahead of the rest of the grid by about 6/10. But you do expect to see improvements as maybe drivers aren't pushing the limits as hard. Of course, it's not anything like Monaco. You can't really go in the wall with a big crash. You do have a gravel trap right there to stop you, so now we've got next Red Bull losing quite a wide line through turn 6. That definitely does not help you. Of course, as a driver, I already drove around this back end. You do want to take the inside line. Of course, your race pace and quali pace could be very different. I mean, a lot of drivers that I know of have picked quali setups compared to some who have picked race setups, which are completely different and will give you pace in all different parts of the track. Now we have most people coming into pit lane. Some people still yet to complete what will be their banker lap time. We've got 8 minutes as the clock runs down. Timing is quite crucial, especially when you reach P3. You've only got 12 minutes, so you really need to strategize using all your time. Now we've got the Mercedes. That is Blue Frog going around the last corner. They're of course wanting to improve from a 1:36 time. What could they do? As they maybe seem to run out of VRS, which is a problem around Bahrain. A 1:22.0 puts them up to P2. Shortly topped by Connor Kickass. A 1:21.9 for them. Very close. Around the times we already seen. We have Phyllis now setting the pace through Sector 2. Where will this push them? As they decel towards the bend of turn 15. What could it be as they really try to touch that inside curb? Not really wanting to mount it, but that gives them a good exit. IMO-P1 goes up to P2. It will be P5 for the Alpine, a 1:22.1. Of course, we haven't really seen any lap times which would take pole yet, or maybe even survive through this Q2 session. A 1:21.8 is a pretty safe timing from both IMO-P1 and BTA Medals. I think I should just stop saying BTA Medals. I feel like I'm absolutely butchering the pronunciation. So from now on it's gonna be just 80 or BTA. I'm not quite too sure, maybe 80. No, I'm gonna do BTA, because some of these names are definitely, and I'm definitely no longer doing Connor Kickass, maybe Connor, for now. Oh, and Five-star that was, going out wide and invalidating their lap time. They seem to lose the rear end of their car through what was, I believe it was turn 14 or 13. And that has invalidated their lap time. They will come into pit lane preparing for what would be their lost Q2 run. Now it's Carlos Sainz, yet to set a competitive lap time. We've seen their pace through Q1, haven't managed to carry it through into Q2 just yet, and losing the rear end through, I believe, turn 8. And that has definitely cost them time, and maybe cost them their lap time for now, and they might have to back off and do another run. But they've still got lap time yet, if they do want to come into pit lane and put on a new set of soft tyres, but it does look like they're going to complete this lap time, as the top two have retired from the session, obviously believing they're safe. And now the Ferrari, it will be across the line. They need to set a good lap time. It's only going to be P7 for the Ferrari at 122.4. That fully isn't safe enough, as next, right behind the Ferrari in terms of standings, they are currently P8, the Ferrari P7, and they'll be looking to climb the grid. As we've got next now, starting their flying lap. But what could they do? They're currently in danger of the drop zone, really. And we've got the Williams of second truck. I believe they're on the flying lap, and have they just lost the rear end through what is a tricky hairpin of turn 6? I believe they might just have. As we have Harry, they really need to pick up some pace. As we have the Blue Frog retiring from the session, clearly happy with their 122.0 time. Harry now, they have a chance to set a faster lap time. It's going to be around the first sector, and they try to go flat, but not working, as True Loki God now sets a 121.6 to push them up to P1. And now Harry in the Haas, what do they do, as it is Chicken Truck going across the line? It will be, and this is their final flying lap. It's only P10 for Chicken Truck, right on the limit, and 5-star, and everyone behind them has an opportunity around what is quite a different Qatar track for every... Sinel says Harry has invalidated it through the third sector, through turn 11. They have invalidated their lap time, And I believe they won't do another one since they are pretty low on ERS and they can't go for another outlap. As I believe that is Harry out. That is Solly up to P4. And Second Truck seems to also be out without any ERS and not enough time to get to the line. If someone else behind them could set a faster lap time, it's going to be Feister. Around turn 16, they get a good exit and enabling all their ERS. Really trying to use it all. Across the line they go, it's up to P6. And Nex is out. Nex is out, definitely out, as they've invalidated their lap time and the checkered flag now waves. And Carlos Sainz might be out if GSRL Krob behind them could improve. And Zach in the Mercedes, what do they do? It's up to P8. And it looks like both Mercedes are quite safe into Q3, a 122.1. They seem to have really pushed the track limits, but kept it within track limits of course, and really propertized from that and set a good lap time. And Carlos Sainz is out. And the GSRL Krob goes up to P6, and that is the end of the session. That pushes NEX, who's currently on a slow lap, down to P11, and they are out of the session in P11, right on the cusp. And that is the end of the Q2 session, and we get ready to enter the most important session in qualifying. It is Q3, of course, but you don't need me to tell you that. And we do have a pretty big cutoff margin. It is about 1.5 tenths between NEX and Fearless. So Fearless in the Alpines really getting into that Q3 session just by a bit, you know, of course track limits, so you really want to set a clean lap before you do anything else, which maybe the 5 drivers who have gone out right now haven't done. It is Magic Mickey, in fact, only setting their best lap time on medium tyres, so I'm not quite too sure what happened with them if they didn't get around to setting a lap time on soft tyres, which is crucial around Qatar. Of course, softs are way faster than mediums, unlike the situation in, well, perhaps Bahrain, where actually you could argue the mediums are quite fast and considerably, maybe even faster than the soft tyres. And we get ready to enter Q3. It is the start of the Q3 session, and the regular suspects into Q3, apart from maybe 1 or 2 drivers, Mitskiller being one of them. And we've got 12 minutes as the clock runs out. Most people are going to do their first flying lap, and it will be their banker lap time on an old set of tyres. Most people will be, of course, trying to save a set of soft tyres into the race, and some people might succeed, some people might need a few lap times to be safe in Q3 and Q2. So it's really about your preference, and if I were a driver, I'd definitely save a set of soft tyres like I did on Wednesday in Tier 3, but that was a different scenario because of course sort of qualifying is enabled, and this is of course full qualifying, so you do need definitely a few more sets. Now we've got all drivers waiting around turn 15 and 16 to start their flying lap. We've got a hell of a competition for who will take pole position, which is so crucial around Qatar. It's going to be Five-Star across the line, followed by their teammate GSRL Prob, followed by what will be, I believe that is Taxi in the Mercedes, followed by the Alpine of the Fearless, followed by True Loki. Everyone seeming to go around Sector 3 or already starting their flying laps, and the McLaren of Connor being the last one to start their flying lap as they enable DRS. Down the one DRS straight we have the lonesome DRS straight, and we have got the Red Bull actually quite behind. They'll be hoping not to get in anyone's way who is on a flying lap currently. But we have got AlphaTauri of Five-Star leading the pack. And we're going to see a lot of different times being put. Some drivers might be on new soft tyres, some might be on an old set. So let's see what Five-Star could do now as they set the pace through Sector 2, and I believe that is a Taxi backing off of their lap, having invalidated it through Sector 2. And that is Solly in the gravel. And that is a front win that definitely needs some changing as they have spun it at the exit of turn 1. Both the AlphaTauris being only two to set a lap time currently, but quite behind them is Fearless, who goes on top, a 121.9 for them. We're seeing a lot of different lap times being put by the rest of the grid as Blue Frog, the one to take P1 now, with a 121.6. And then it is I'm a Dewan with a 121.3. They are definitely picking up some pace. And that is a very nice lap time from the Alfa Romeo driver, Connor Kikos. Yet to set a lap time, and they won't, having invalidated it. And now going into pit lane, they'll be hoping to set a lap time later. And Solly, the Red Bull pit crew and mechanics will have definitely some work to do on that Red Bull, as it might need a new front wing. Got there in then. And we've got the Mercedes now going wide and invalidating their lap time. They are now going into pit lane. Were they on a flying lap? I'm not quite too sure about that. Maybe they were, but Five-Star... Nope, it was actually GSRL Club. Maybe they got in the way. But we've got everyone now into pit lane. And you don't need me to tell you how crucial a banker lap could be. I mean, lap times get invalidated all the time in Qatar, and we've got pit lane chaos as everyone seems to be going into pit lane right now. And I believe that was Blue Frog, or was it Zach? I believe they had to wait quite a bit for their teammate to go in. And Solly, having not set a lap time yet and damaging their front wing in what was a crash at turn 1, they'll be hoping to get out quite quickly to set what will be a banker lap time for them, and maybe their only lap time, as Fearless retires from the session. Maybe they don't have another set of soft tyres to use. And Connor being the only one out on track now. They'll be hoping to get around quickly if they want some clean air to set a lap time without anyone else blocking them, which is actually quite crucial at Qatar, as of course there's not many places to avoid a driver, especially around the many towns at Qatar. It is 16 corners, one of the most. on the whole calendar. And it is Connor now, starting their flying lap, and let's take you through it. You want to go to the inside of turn 1, going out wide now, and back to the inside for a left-hander into turn 2. They seem to be going quite nicely in the McLaren through turn 3 now, for the quite sort of run down to turn 4. You want to take it maybe quite medium speed around turn 4, maybe you could go flat through turn 5. It is quite of a banked corner, like this corner ahead of them. Turn 6 as they set the pace. Through sector 1, they have gone purple, and it seems like they have found some pace in what is clean air. And on these soft tyres, what could Connor do as they go around sector 2 now, very nicely through turn 10 and 9. Now this is one of the overtaking spots in the race. It is quite a long straight, and they have gone purple through sector 2, so they have found a lot of pace, and it is all about keeping it within track limits for the McLaren driver of Connor. What could they do as they now go around turn 15 very nicely, and now set their car up for the best exit through turn 16, enabling DRS. What will it be for Connor as they cross the line? It will be a 1:21.4 to put them on provisional front row of the grid. And it is quite a nice lap time, as a lot of people are yet to go out on their flying lap, so everyone else will have only one chance to nail it.
Welcome to the state of Qatar here in Western Asia. Have the sun cream on hand and plenty of water at your disposal. Humid and hot summers, temperatures averaging highs of 42 degrees in summer months and 22 degrees in winter months. If you're planning on doing a spot sightseeing while here in Qatar, happy to know that one of the fastest growing countries for tourism, with many beaches, several national parks and a range of archaeological sites.
And now we've got everyone going out of the pit lane, and it is a bunch of cars now squabbled together. And will these cars get in the way of everyone else? We've seen that happen before, I believe in Tier 1 as well. And it is Friday, the last set of races in this week, as we are set to move to Australia for next week. It is a sprint weekend, of course, in Australia. A few days away from that now, as we have Taxi now in the Mercedes. They seem to be quite close to the back of Alfa Romeo. They'll be wanting to get some space, and Alfa Romeo letting them through, as it does tick down to a minute left in the session. I do believe if that yellow flag warning would just disappear for a second. Yes, it is 57 seconds left, and I believe that is GSRL Krob going through sector 1. They are on an outlap, and they'll have to pick up the pace if they want to start what will be their final flying lap. Fifester, their teammate, the first one across the line. Out of all the squabble of drivers we've got, that is Fearless and Connor in the pit lane. They won't be making another appearance and not having a chance to improve. What could Fifester do? Through turn 4 and 5 now, taking a inside line, and that seems to be perfect for AlphaTauri, and in fact setting the fastest sector 1 time with that. 4 tenths up on their banker lap time. what it tries to do now as they go through turn 7 very nicely, right in the outside curb. And now we have the checkered flag being waved to signal the end of Q3, and GSRL Crop hasn't got past the line, and it will be a best finish of P6 for them. A 122.4 is their time, as Feiston now going purple for a moment in that second sector as they go around turn 15. Very cautious now, don't want to ruin what could be the best lap of qualifying as they ride the inside curb, going out wide now, and labeling the DRS. Of course this track really takes your ERS, but it is only P3 for Fights. There is provisional second row on the grid for AlphaTauri, but Blue Frog, they've invalidated their lap time. What could Taxi do up to P6, making it a third row lockout for Mercedes, as Armadillo currently on pole. Could they improve? No, they can't. But behind we've got BTA Metal taking provisional pole position from Alfa Romeo at the last possible moment, and Solly in the Red Bull. They haven't set a lap time yet. What would it be? Could they dethrone Aston Martin? No, they can't. It is P2 for the Red Bull, a 121.2, and it will be Aston Martin on pole position. A 121.1 is a pretty fast lap time compared to the rest of the grid especially, and the rest of the tiers, so very nicely done there from Aston Martin. And as we get prepared to start the race, nerves are undoubtedly running high. So let's see what we could expect. Different strategies are going to line out how this race plays out. We've got the opted strategy being probably medium to hard. So it's interesting to see what other strategies we will have, as the race win is very much up for grabs, as we have everyone past P1 being quite close together from P8 to P2. They're all quite close together, so BTA will definitely be wanting to take quite a good lead. And now we have 2 minutes to wait until it is lights out, and away we go. Right, not much of an overtaking track, which will be a disappointment for those drivers I'm talking about. Golden Zed stuck in P20, and especially Midskiller stuck in P16, so that will be quite disappointing for them. So he's currently first in the Tier 5 table, in fact. It is Harry, and I believe Harry is starting around Q3, as we have lights out and away we go in under 30 seconds now, as I believe someone started the lobby. So let's see what we will have. It's a dry start, which is not surprising at all in Qatar. So let's see what we can get on the race start. As we have the first red light, and it is 5 red lights going out, and it is the Red Bull side by side. The Red Bull of Solly gets a terrible start and already down to P5, but up front we have Alfa Romeo being squeezed off. The Mercedes of Blue Frog making a move down the inside of AlphaTauri, as Alfa Romeo is going quite skirmish through turn 2. Now I believe we have a few cars going out wider. Was Solly involved in that? I believe it is. Chicken Truck, Midskiller and Golden Zed all involved in that collision as they've gone wide through turn 1 and lost a few places. And down in P18 and 80, P18 and 17, it is Chicken Truck and Midskiller. They were involved in an incident, but up ahead we have La Alpine making a move round the outside of La AlphaTauri, and in fact forcing them off a bit through turn 8. We don't see many moves being made there, but La Alpine has got ahead and into P6 as Connor now closing up on Zach C in the Mercedes. The Mercedes, they seem to have a good start with both cars up to P2 and P4 respectively. Very nice stuff. As Feisty now into AlphaTauri, what can they do as they seem to be closing up to the back of Fearless? And BTA building their gap up ahead to 1.1 seconds already out of the RS zone. And now Taxi closing up on the back of Imadewan. What could they do as they pull to the inside for turn 1? It is going to be P3 for Taxi, as they probably want to push with their teammate also being on medium tyres up ahead at BTA. As we have Carlos Sainz losing positions to the McLaren, who seems to have made the move stick, and Carlos Sainz nearly tapping red tyres with Magic Mickey, as Alfa Romeo of Imadewan nearly runs wide, and that leaves the door open for the McLaren down the inside of the hairpin. They have made the move stick. Alfa Romeo not trying to fight that in a million years. And that is Connor Kickoff running wide, but below them we have Carlos Sainz getting a 3-second time penalty, and I'm very relieved that my commentating has finally paid off, as I am commentating on Carlos Sainz. And we have Connor now being given a 3-second time penalty as people are running wide left and right all over the place and getting 3-second time penalties, Connor being one of them. Now behind we've got the 5-4, I believe it is P5 really evolving, as we've got Fearless closing up to the back of Alfa Romeo, but being attacked behind by Feister, who has the outside for turn 1. Alpine tries to fight it, but Feister looks to have got ahead, and up to P6 for the AlphaTauri. Now we've got the McLaren of Connor closing up to the back of Black C. What could they do, as we have yellow flags being waved, and that is for an Alpine of Blood Pringle going slowly, and could I say maybe they bash their front wing against the wall of turn 16. They're 30 seconds down on Solly, who seems to have a terrible start. Down in P19, that really bad getaway from the line really did not work for them. As we can now put in the position change graphic, and the big winners being the Mercedes both moving up 4 positions, and Solly moving down 17 positions. And what a disappointing start it has been for the Red Bull driver. They seem to not even be closing on the back of Golden Zed, so really poor from the Red Bull driver of Solly. But up ahead the rest of the grid we have Fearless making a move past Feister, who got ahead of them a lap earlier, not making it stick. Feister seems to have got the outside line and really paid off with a better exit. And we have Connor Kickoff sending it down the inside of turn 6, but Taxi has made a switchback and got up to P3. Taxi now being given 3 seconds. One of 4 drivers now on penalties. And Connor closing up behind them. They might be looking to make a move in the upcoming laps, as we've got Blood Pringle being given a 3-second time penalty. And we have got, I believe that was Carlos Sainz trying to pull a move on Harry, but not working, as Harry really disappointing for them, the championship leader, not showing any pace at all. As we've got Connor closing up on the back of Taxi, who is desperate to stay ahead, that's for sure. And Connor, they are sending it down the inside of turn 1 and maybe braking a bit too late. That leaves Taxi open for a move down the outside of turn 2. The McLaren tries to fight it and squeezes the Mercedes off track, but the Mercedes still side by side. And now we'll have the inside for turn 4 as we all slow down with yellow flags being shown, and that is for second truck, who is off the road at turn 1. And we've got Amadou, and they might be the next one to pass the Mercedes of Black Sea, as Mike Killer becomes the next person to get a time penalty of 3 seconds for corner cutting, that's for sure. And Fearless in P6 currently running quite comfortably. They have got a 3-second time penalty as Amadou closes up on the back of the Mercedes, who is left defenseless as Amadou enables all their ERS to pull ahead of the Mercedes driver of Track C. We've now got Feisty closing up on the back of Fearless, but yet to make a move up into P6. Fearless is keeping that position. We have got the Mercedes now within the DRS zone of BTA, who seem to have got a good start, but that might just be stopped with Blue Frog faster behind on medium tyres. They seem to be making a move, but have they just run wide through, I believe that was turn 9 or 10. Amadou now closing up on the back of Connor, who hasn't had the best start on what are medium tyres, so they should have had more pace, but Amadou fast ahead. He'll be wanting to reclaim that P3 spot he lost on the first lap. Let's see, as the McLaren loses the rear end and nearly spins out at the final corner, but that leaves them defenseless to the Alfa Romeo of Amadou, who gets up to P3, reclaiming their spot. As we've got True Loki God making a move past 5-star Chicken Trust, now getting 3-second time penalties. They fell to P20. Mr. Wee Biscuits now getting 3 seconds. They are in P15, they've moved up 2 positions, as a lot of the rest of the grid has, due to solely losing out on the first lap, and as well as Chicken Truck, I guess you could say. Now we have no safety car as of yet. We have had a few collisions, but that hasn't been enough to bring out a safety car. And if you're a Saints fan watching the Sheffield Wednesday game, you'd probably be wondering, why the hell have we put out such a bad lineup? I'm currently watching the game as well as commentating, and we have the worst lineup possible, but we've got Blue Frog keeping within the DRS zone of BTA behind. Only 7 tenths separate them too. Those medium tyres will be starting to wear out quite soon. I know already, I've drove around this track and they really wear out quite quickly. You won't do medium to soft here, that's for sure. But Connor now closing back up to the Alfa Romeo, who overtook them a few laps earlier, and now might be taking that P3 spot back. We've got Blue Frog 6/10 away from BPA and closing. We've got Connor closing and closing on the back of Armageddon. Every win barely meters away, as we've got 5-star being overtaken by Next now. They seem to be finding no race pace at all as they pick up a 3-second time penalty, so not ideal for them as Blood Pringle retires on track, and that brings out a safety car to slow things down, and some people might be wanted to come into the pits. Of course, if you do come into the pits, you are really committing yourself to a 2-stop, as hards won't last any longer. And everyone below Harry seems to be coming into pits for new tyres and committing themselves to the 2-stop as well. And Soft going on for Terrific Gamer, who comes out in P13 mid-killer now. That brings them up to P12, as well as many people behind them benefiting on those early stoppers. And Chicken Truck will absolutely love this. They're currently running down in P19, and this is exactly what they needed to bring them back into the race. And this is exactly what some drivers need. Solly, Chicken Truck, all being them. Bring them back into the race and still with a chance to win it. Anyone could win it, of course. BTA has done a pretty good job as of yet to keep their Aston Martin up into P1, and would probably quite hate this safety car in fact. And we have Blue Frog, Connor, all pitting, and this really helps the people who pitted earlier onto some new tyres, and I'm not quite too sure what Blue Frog is doing, pitting onto tyres. Those hards won't last. Those hards definitely won't last, and I'm not quite too sure what is actually happening, as it looks like a lot of people and a lot of people are picking onto hards, surprisingly, and they'll be hoping to last until the end of the race. But I've already drove around here in Tier 3, and maybe I've tried that in tracks like Bahrain, which are very similar tyre degradation, and that won't happen. That really will not happen. Hards cannot go 19 laps. You either commit yourself to a very aggressive 2-stop going on softs and then softs, And this is going to be a very interesting restart when the safety car comes in, and it is this lap as BTA goes now, and we've got La Alfa Romeo behind. They'll be looking to overtake as the top two have got away very well from the rest of the grid. We've got La Haas of Harry closing to the back of the Red Bull, who seems to be changing their racing line, and the Haas pulls to the inside, trying to make a move but not making it stick. That opens the door for Mitchkiller on the outside now. Mitchkiller, could they get up to P6? They're gonna stay in P7 for now, as we have got Mitchkiller now being overtaken by Carlos Sainz, and they force Carlos Sainz off track. Both of them now go wide, and they'll not be too happy about that one, as Magic Mikey tries a switch back on the Haas, but really not enough grip on those hard tyres to force that move. And we've got LaFerrari on the inside, and now being the one to force the Alfa Romeo off track as they both go into gravel. LaFerrari turned in on the Alfa Romeo, and now they both fall to P18 and 19. This has absolutely screwed up both of their races. As the Southampton boys, way, if you want an update, they have scored. It's 1-0 to Southampton away at Sheffield Wednesday. Absolutely lovely stuff. Anyway, we've got Harry now on the back of next. What are they gonna do? As we've got Harry closing. Of course, DRS is not enabled just yet, which is what Armadillo would definitely want on the back of BTA. But we've got Solly closing up on GSRL Club, who is actually on soft tyres. They should have better pace. We've got racing lines really being changed all around the main straight, as we've got the McLaren closing to the back of the Haas of Harry, but not being able to make a move just yet, as that is BTA still in the lead. But we've got Mitchkiller, I believe they might just be coming in to retire. Maybe, as Harry retires! Harry is out! And it is another safety car, as I did not catch what happened, but Harry is out at the exit of turn 2. What has happened there? And this brings the grid closer together, as BTA is actually in the gravel. They are in the gravel, and they have fell to P9. Having done all of that, they have fell to P9, and they've gone off into the gravel and fallen to P9. I believe they went straight ahead at what was turn 9, and they have fell to P9 doing that. I believe they just really gone on the gravel trap and really lost it. And speaking to Harry, oh, and BTA trying to force some people to come into the pit, as we have the top two crew, Loki and Imaduan, pit in, and they might just be committing themselves to a 2-stop, unless they might go on the hards, which will last now, which will probably last, as hards will last. But right now we have Fearless now being the next one to go up to P1. We've got that top 10 really just switching positions all the time. And speaking to Harry, I said, did I already say it? Anyway, Harry did say that Magic Mickey did sideswipe him at the exit of turn 2. And Magic Mickey, who currently runs in P3, might be getting a penalty. They have sideswiped the Haas, and the Haas is now retired because of it. And now we have Next coming into pit lane. This will lose them a lot of positions and they might just be down in P18. But they are going on to hard tyres. And we have Connor being given a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Blue Frog, and Blue Frog has fallen to P13. And Connor is out of the session. Whether they retired on purpose because they were guilty of the incident or something, I don't quite know, but they have retired on track. And Connor is the next one to join the 2 cars out, and that makes it 3 retirements this race so far. There is something for sure, and that is Connor and Blue Frog definitely came together. And that definitely forced both drivers to lose out positions, and in Connor's case, in fact, drop out of the race. Now we've got everyone seeming to be on a different set of tyres, and I will pop up the tyre graphic. Most people opting for the hard tyres, as I believe Next coming into pit lane once again as we get underway with the race. Once again the Alpine on the inside for turn 1. The McLaren is gaining and gaining, and we go too wide through turn 1. The McLaren on the outside, and they seem to have got the move done. And up to P1 for Magic Mickey, as the Red Bull now is dragged into fight as Jack C overtakes the Haas of Golden Jet up into P4 for the Mercedes driver. As I believe that was GSRL Crop maybe running a bit wide, and now it's the Ferrari running wide, and GSRL Crop as the Ferrari makes the lunge down the inside of the hairpin, and they nearly bang 3 wheels with the AlphaTauri as Solly now round the outside of Fearless, who seems to be getting overtaken left, right and centre. And now down to P3 for Fearless. They are on old hard tyres. They'll be wanting to come into pit lane quite soon, that's for sure. As it is Mr. Wee Biscuit fighting with True Loki God. They're going to go to the inside and actually back off. True Loki God gets P8. And we've got yellow flags being waved, and it is for Second Track, who's off track. And they have crashed GSRL Crop and I'm a Duan going side by side now. Zach C being the next one to overtake Fearless quite comfortably on the main straight. GSRL Crop down the inside of what was, I believe, maybe terrific game. I'm not quite too sure. There's a huge squabble for cars involved in all that battle, but True Loki got now behind GSRL Crop. They're closing and actually making a dive down the inside, very dangerous, and they nearly spin out because of it. Banning rear tyres with GSRL Crop, who continues just fine. We've got Mr. Wee Biscuits now, and that is the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz being punted in the back by Mitskiller, I believe that was, and Mitskiller, I believe they lost their front wing, and that was, I believe, the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz being right in the middle of the track, and Mitkiller just slamming into the back of them. And they are all down in that P11 to P14 spot really. Solly now on the back of Magic Mickey. They'll be wanting to make a move. What could Solly do now? They committed themselves to a two-stop strategy. What could they do as they're on the back of Magic Mickey, not really gaining enough to make a move into turn 1. But we've got True Loki now, making a move past GSRL Crob with a slipstream from Fearless ahead, I believe. Aston Martin is also trying to make a move on the AlphaTauri and actually squeezing to the inside of the AlphaTauri through turn 1. And now trying to switch back side by side into turn 4. They both go, who will pay off as I believe the AlphaTauri is forcing Aston Martin off track, and now the AlphaTauri secures that P6 spot. As we have Solly now on the back of Magic Mickey, they'll be wanting to make a move past if they want to really rescue their race. And Solly now on the back of the McLaren. Could they make a move behind? We have all drivers really piling up on Fearless, and True Loki God might be making a move, and they will get that move done quite easily before the break-in zone even. Solly stuck behind Magic Mickey for another lap, it looks like, as GSRL Crob and Terrific Gaming are swatting positions constantly, but it looks like Terrific Gamer has got ahead. We've got still a few drivers yet with penalties, and Solly is one of them. BTA behind as well, still on those old hard tyres. Very interestingly, they seem to have really lost their race, but Zaxi on the gravel. Zaxi has gone on to gravel, and now is AlphaTauri being run wide, and AlphaTauri I believe hit Zaxi in the back, but that might have just been lag as they both continue just fine. But Zaxi has lost a ton of position going wide and onto gravel in sector 2. Now we've got Terrific Gamer right on the tail of Fearless, who seems to be overtaken by a lot of cars, and Zaxi has now got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Terrific Gamer now on the tail, but ahead of them we have Solly enabling DRS, and the McLaren might be left defenseless as Solly moves to the outside and fully past the McLaren as Terrific Gamer looks to make a move past the Alpine. They'll have better grip on new hard tyres, and actually banning rear tyres is the Aston Martin and Alpine through turn 1. They're still side by side. The Alpine may be trying to switch back, but no space left in there, and the Alpine drops to P5 now. So really a bad start from them, as Solly doesn't seem to get away that well, as Solly I believe overtook Magic Mickey and now looking to make it stick. They'll definitely have to come into pits again, and those medium tyres 10 laps old, they'll definitely be running out, as Blue Frog as well. They have dropped to P15, and actually on new medium tyres to last them until the end of the race they've set a fastest lap. I believe a lot of drivers here might be hoping for a safety car. A third safety car in one race hasn't been done much in Qatar yet. I don't believe it's been done yet. It's been relatively safer on Qatar compared to other tracks, but it might just happen. Now that was Aston Martin, I believe, running a bit wide through turn 1. And they're right being attacked by Fearless and Fightster behind. And actually this is interesting because I thought tyre degradation would be very high, but these two have proved me wrong, and it is BTA and Fearless still on those hard tyres from the start. They have definitely proved me wrong because I said tyre degradation would be high, and I believe it is, as Mitskiller retires. And they have retired on track, I do believe, as the run up to turn 16. And Mitskiller is out of the session, and it is another safety car. This is what a lot of people would be hoping for. Some people might be absolutely dreading it. But now this gives opportunity to a lot of people to come into pit lane for one final time. And we might as well just switch to the penalty graphic, and here is how it stands. Chicken Truck, who's currently running in P2, and I am very proud of that, of course, close friends, but Chicken Truck, 9 seconds to serve at the end of the race. They'll be wanting to keep that P2 spot and actually extend. A lot of people have decided to stay out. And Solly has actually come into pit lane for medium tyres. Very interesting because a lot of people behind are on soft tyres, so they might lose a bit of pace to the rest of the grid. And Chicken Truck only on 8 lap old medium tyres. They might just be looking at a points finish, who knows. We've got BTAM now getting a penalty. You know what, I used to call them BTA, now it's BTAM. I used to call them BTA meddled, but I don't believe it's meddled. Meddled is a great name though, so I wouldn't be complaining if I was them. But anyway, most people now opt in now we have all drivers behind the safety car, and soft tyres might just be the way to go, as most people are opting between the soft and mediums, but those softs will definitely last, I know that. I had the same situation actually in my tier 3 race, and I pitted onto softs and they did last quite comfortably, so I would go on to softs if I were the grid, but some people opt in between mediums. They're going to be quite slow on the restart. Softs are just much faster around the track. And the penalty situation looks quite average. Most people on 3-second time penalties, but those who aren't on 3 seconds will really be at a disadvantage when the race does end, because and Chicken Truck goes quite slowly, in fact, and that has given Fifester ahead about a 1.5 second gap. And Solly now right on the tail of the Williams, who gone very late compared to AlphaTauri, and the McLaren also looking to overtake, but it's Solly round the outside. The Williams tries to fight it, but really not working for Chicken Truck as they force the Alpha. Nope, it was the McLaren off track, and the McLaren has lost out, going wide through turn 2. They are down to P7 now, being overtaken by Terrific Gamer on the inside, as I believe that was a Williams of Chicken Truck, going wider to let their teammate pass. True Loki has got past, and it is Solly now on the tail of Fifester. They've gained a lot of time. Magic Mickey now tapping the tail of Chicken Truck, who seems to be going very slowly, as that is Aston Martin going through the gravel, and it was a Terrific Gamer. Now they left the door open for Blue Frog to overtake. We've got Magic Mickey now down the inside, and in fact cutting across the track, and maybe cutting turn 11 to make that overtake, but they're still fighting with Chicken Truck. Chicken Truck seems to have stayed ahead, and in fact tapping the back of Chicken Truck to make them spin out at turn 15. Chicken Truck are now down to P15, and this race, which seems to have gone quite well for them, and Solly now overtakes up to P1 on the pit straight. AlphaTauri cannot fight that move. Of course, Solly does have 5 seconds in time penalties, so they're going to be quite in danger if there is another safety car, in fact, which might totally happen. We've now got BTA and GSRL Crob fighting, and in fact, GSRL Crob forcing BTA off track. This is some dirty racing as Aston Martin smashes into the side of AlphaTauri, making them spin out at turn 4. That deserves a ban, honestly. That racing deserves a ban from Aston Martin of BTA. That's fucking dirty, man. Cheating cunt. And now Magic Mickey, who is out of the session, disconnected, is now falling, and this gives people behind an opportunity to overtake, as Solly increases their gap to around 2 seconds to Fifester. True Loki God might still be in a chance, no, because they picked up another 3 seconds from corner cutting. And we've got BTA. Oh, and BTA is forced off track at turn 15. And they're now on the inside for turn 16. They seem to have got that P6 move stuck. And Blue Frog now overtaking their teammate to push them up to P7. They've only got 3 seconds, so that is really going to help them in pursuit of the Ferrari and Aston Martin now, as they both fight each other. Solly ahead, increasing their gap to 3 seconds. But behind we have got a lot of drivers now really close to each other, and True Loki is one of them, closing to the back of Fifester. But they really aren't making the amount of progress I believe they would have. And True Loki got now, could they pull a move off on the pit straight? Let's see, as the Alpine behind is closing, and they might just be forced to make this move happen. And let's see what True Loki can do now, as they seem to be gaining, but is it gaining enough? As Fearless also seems to try a move on the Williams, but it all remains the way it was at the start of the pit straight, as Carlos Sainz now closing up on BTA. Now we have Golden Teth and Mr. Wee Biscuits. Golden Teth just forced out wide through turn 6. And that will definitely not help them, as Fifester may be running a bit wide. And now that leaves the door open for True Loki God, or will the Williams stick behind for some DRS, which will definitely help them down the main straight. So let's see what will happen now as they're closing up to the back of the AlphaTaurians. What could they do? They haven't got really any ERS, so doesn't the AlphaTauri, so this will be very interesting as we approach the final few laps. AlphaTauri seems to have got P2, but the Williams closing and closing. The AlphaTauri is flashing down the main straight, and the Williams pulling to the inside and making a move stick for P2. And now behind we've got a huge squabble as Fearless tries to overtake the AlphaTauri as well, and down the inside they go, up to P3 for the Alpine driver. Vaccino getting another 3 seconds to push their total up to 15 seconds worth of penalties. Now we've got a huge squabble as who is that off? I believe it is Aston. Sorry, what the hell has happened? I've been forced out of the lobby. I've been kicked out of the lobby. What the hell has happened? Okay, well, I've been kicked out of the lobby. How the hell have I been kicked out? What? What has happened? I've been kicked out of the lobby. Right, this has gone terribly. This has gone very, very terribly. Right. I think I was kicked out of the lobby. Well, that's just great, isn't it? That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Well, that's great. Well, it looks like this is the end of the stream. How the hell was I kicked out of the lobby? I have no idea. Come on. Well, this is very interesting. So apparently I've been kicked out of the lobby or something, but anyway. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll see you next race. It's quite an awkward end. Normally I get to the end of races, but probably not.